So once you have your own P, you have your own pen, you have your own writing stick, your idea of how you're going to spread your orgasm and create stories that are pleasurable. The question becomes R. So this is where R is 18. Who are you, actually? And who you are is who you are when you penetrate your own O, when you have sex repeatedly. So this is why R is reps, repetitions, realms and realities, the water cycle. And 18 as a number is about you as an individual spirit stepping outside of your space. So in English culture, when you turn 18, you are finally allowed, quote unquote, finally, because you can feel like you're ready earlier, right? But the point is, this number is kind of spiritually set, where you have to be 18. We kind of like this, like so like deeply subconscious and like spiritual. This is like just our agreements on things, like straight up. And this is why if you have sex with someone who's under 18 and you're over 18, it's technically rape, even if they agreed to it, because they were not mature enough to have their own perspective. They don't have their own individual I. So they are not a 9-dimensional being. So it doesn't matter how much this person who's younger than 18 wants to have sex with you. They're not actually who they are yet. They're still, in that case, a quote-unquote child. Even if they're like 17, 16, it's this thing that's like right here in the language. You have to turn 18 to know who you are. And then that's why it coincides with, once you turn 18, you can leave the home. You can leave the house. You can leave the roof of your parents. For many people, it's earlier, but we're talking about English culture. In English culture, it's 18 that now you can leave and you can go create life with whoever you want. Right? Like now you can go have sex with anyone of any age. It doesn't matter. Right now, it's because you're 18. Now you're legal, quote unquote. The law is allowing people to connect with you. Whereas before, the law kind of protected you. Because that's, again, here we are at the language, right? This is literally the language. It's so weird that only I can do this. But that's the point of us as individuals. We are all fulfilling the space of spirits. We create the universe together. So I'm called away as Chase to do what I'm doing right now because this is really important. And I organically feel like this is really important. So, and I'm organically really passionate about this. It's really interesting to me. I've been living here for 24 years, so I've been in this. So it's like getting to reflect on everything cymatically now that I'm way more in touch with my Hermetic home. And getting to make sense of life way better. So now I'm translating it into the language that was meant to make sense out of me. So this is where you use your P to figure out who you are. So now that you have your individual idea, your individual 7, you can bring your imagination into other 8s. So 18 is about you giving birth to a new perspective by igniting your imagination into another universe. And that first takes igniting into your universe, right? So you feel like going out of your space. So inside of yourself, you're doing what you're doing outside of yourself repetitively anyway, right? So even when you're outside of yourself and you're not exactly doing what you want to do as a spirit, just the fact that what you want to do is almost always on your mind. Like if you daydream your whole life, like if you're forced to go through school like me, right? Like I'm forced to ride this wave like you. So I'm forced to sit and create all these health problems inside of my body and suffer from the degradative effects of living this Jewish lifestyle. And it is through that now I'm able to reflect upon and communicate about all of the ways in which these things affect us. And even though I had to go through this garbage that I don't resonate with, it didn't stop me from being who I am internally. You know, like throughout all of school, I'm still daydreaming, I'm still fantasizing, and I'm still imagining about just like superpowers, you know, a high level communication, being able to just fly and like be myself and do everything. And that's naturally where my art's coming from, you know, and then that naturally, that's what then trickles into my actions and how I'm able to communicate anything. So it's just then the degree of like when I'm going through school, right, and we're forced to believe in all of these other imaginations to get by, and we're scared that we're going to be killed by the system and not be able to make money inside of a land that's colonizing indigenous peoples because we're not serving the very thing that is not even serving us. Then it's easy for the imagination to get subdued. But the fact is, you as a spirit, your flame cannot be tamed. Your flame cannot be tamed. That was a big lesson that Anubis brought to me in a major psychedelic trip that I had. It was like my big Hermanubis reuniting with him. It was so awesome, realizing like, oh yes, CymaTree is Hermanubis, because I made CymaTree so Chase could carry Max with him everywhere he went anyway. So it's lit. So that's where P, once you have your own like perspective, your own idea of perfection, your own ego, then you're doing that repetitively inside of yourself. So even when you are outside of yourself and it doesn't look like you're doing that, it's going to show sooner or later. Like who you are actually is going to have to come out, because there's nothing else. Your internal has to come out to the external. How you cycle through yourself internally has to come out to the external. It has to come out externally, because there's nowhere else for you to create life from, to communicate from. And this is hilarious. I totally skipped over Q. So R is the spirit. So R is who you are. With that 18 being 9, that's the air. The Q is water. The Q is the soul. So that's PQR. So literally you as the O, as the spirit, as the air. This is the cycle of 3 stuff. So because it goes fire, water, air, fire, water, air, fire, water, air. So the O is air. And then the P is you creating fire from your air, your idea of perfection that no one can touch. And then the question, your soul, leads you on quests outside of your space into other realms and realities. That is where we get R. So PQR. Once you ask the question, how do I attain perfection? The answer is going to be reps. Reps, baby. Do it over and over and over and over. And step outside of yourself and do it here and do it here and do it here and do it here and do it here. And this is how we grow stronger as a spirit. So this is what I'm doing right now. Like, this life has been pretty hard. You know, I've gone through very wild experiences. It's been insane, actually. So, and just like all this psychological manipulation and all just how wrong everything is, yeah, it's like overwhelmingly has the power to just force everyone to agree that wrongness is right. Yet everyone wants to be right. So it's just everyone fighting themselves while supporting climate change. Oh man. But I'm getting stronger being here as a spirit. Like who I am internally is getting stronger as I'm bringing it into this world, and I'm bringing what's happening from this world into my world, and it's a two-way street, because that's the point of water, the subconscious. So you as a spirit, when you create your own soul, when you create your own universe, the universe must be a reflection of that, because it's only going to be a bigger body of water that's created from you joining your feelings, your body of water, with other feelings, with other bodies of water. So that's the Q. That's your quest. The quest is the water. The questions power the soul. So questions power water. So yeah, that's hilarious. I just went right to R, whatever. PQR. So once you ask the question, how to attain perfection, that answer is reps. And R then becomes S. So this is why R is air, and then S is the fire. So S is you bringing that P into sex. So now you're bringing your penis into sex. You are using the way that you penetrate your O to have sex with reality based on how you repetitively go on quests outside of yourself. So this is where S becomes snakes. This is what snakes are doing, right? Snakes are going outside of themselves to have sex, right? Snakes are always slithering forward. And this is then where we get the Ouroboros of how like the universe kind of like could be seen in terms of once what we're about to get into here, ST ability. So when you are a spirit, once you know who you are, and now you're using who you are to have sex, you can either have sex with others or have sex with yourself. So this language, the Judeo-Christians who push this language onto indigenous peoples, they project super hard that sex is a sin. And it's because they're so obsessed with raping indigenous peoples, with raping Negroes, with raping N-words. Because otherwise you wouldn't view sex as a sin. You would know that you are actually creating life from having sex with yourself right now. So if you view sex as a sin, that's literally because your spirit has you feeling so guilty about how you need to rape other spirits and just force your P into their O. Just like the Spaniards forced their P's into the O's of all the Mesoamericans that they took over. And all these British and French and I was about to say Spaniards again. I want to call them out twice. British, French, Dutch, Portuguese, Spaniards, Italians, just all these Europeans are forcing their P's into the O's of countless indigenous cultures that we don't have names for because they've been colonized and taken over by English, so that these Europeans can make money out of forcefully penetrating their ideas into other realms and realities. And now they're building railroads. Now they're raping Native Americans so that they can steal our resources and make their reality real, make us see them, so that now we can't see ourselves. So that's S, as far as S being sin and why people view sex as a sin. Because the whole idea is then like, oh, you need to get married to make sure that you're committed forever. But that in and of itself is just almost like another weaponized trap meant to make money off of how spirits connect. Because those laws, those rules that you're upholding in marriage are low-key impossible to uphold forever. And I guess not if you really just look at it in terms of like till death do us part. You could just say till death of our love do us part. Like, we will be married until we realize that we don't want to be together anymore. Until we realize that we don't love each other the same way. And now we will separate. And then, fine, that would work. You know, and now every marriage can be a ceremony in that way. But as far as, like, we are trained to believe that we are the bodies so that the system can then make money by trapping people in marriages that then just are, like, doomed to fail because they can't uphold these laws. And now the system that put them in that position can make so much more money, making it hard for them to get out of it. Like, there's endless stories about how hard it is for people to get out of marriages. And it's all just legal stuff. And it was like, it was a trap. Yep, you could have just loved each other without the contract. You could have just had the party without the contract. You feel me? But nah, you wanted to get the law into it because the point is you love the law, you love light, and you love tax breaks. You love money. So when you're trying to build a life with someone else, it makes sense to get married to them inside that system that's telling you to do so you can make more money together. Because a system that's making money off of you is telling you that they won't tax you as much or you'll save more if you confine yourself into one relationship. That inevitably, as you two change, again, just laws that are impossible to uphold, and they like actually create division and create negativity. So this is where sex is not a sin if you're not raping indigenous peoples and you're not building railroads in Native Americans' realms and realities so that you can steal their resources. Sex is natural when you do it inside of yourself. Otherwise, you wouldn't be aware of anything. So, boom. This is where snakes can be seen as sinful, but they're also super sexy. So, Hermeticism, here we are at the Caduceus, ST ability. It is super sexy to have sex with yourself, to connect with yourself, to slither your S into your own space repeatedly so that you create this Ouroboros that is now your own realm and reality. And that's how you create tea. So now you literally wrap your serpents around your own tree and you take flight with the wings on top. That's a Caduceus. Again, doctors, the medical industry, they can never tell you this. So when you have sex with yourself, you bring your snakes into your space, you create your tea, that's your trunk. This tea is your idea of time, right? So this is why our whole idea of time is based in trees. It's based in rings. It's based in literally just categorizing how we are creating life, how we're literally building the structure first. Like the tree is the first structure. So our spine is our tree, the Caduceus, right? The tree, the spine, all Hermeticism. It's about you bringing your snake, bringing your ability to be who you are inside of your space repeatedly so that you create a garden of luscious fruits that nourish yourself and anyone who visits you. This is how CymaTree builds simulations. I didn't realize that's literally like how subconscious it is, but literally that's what it is. And we all do it. That's the point. This is how we create life. So all of our idea of time is dictated by our trees. So you as a spirit, you have your own soul, you have your own garden. That's your tree, which is created from you having sex with yourself. And once you have your own garden, now you have your own sense of time. And this is where you connect with the universe in a more conscious way. And of course, with T being 20, it's about literally how the tree grants more space for other spirits to connect, more space for connections in general. And that's literally then what time is. So we're actually then creating the concept of time from the structures that we're building through connecting so that we can actually consciously connect even greater. That's the point of us categorizing the tree, looking at the rings on the tree that's growing. Otherwise, no one cares about the rings inside of a tree. No one cares about the ways in which these structures are growing. So it takes us as a spirits creating these structures from having sex inside of ourselves to then categorize it and create a sense of time and say, okay, this is valuable, we're cycling it through here, and this is how we can connect all of our gardens together. So now all of our souls, all of our gardens, all of our teas, our minds in that case, but our soul minds, but really our souls are connected by time. And time is what we're creating with our minds. So all of our water is connected by air. So this is why, although the universe is water-based, because it's us feeling like bringing our souls together, our souls can never actually be one. We can just feel like being one by creating energy that allows our minds to project and vibrate into that. So then this is where we use structures to feel like we're connected with each other. We use structures to feel like we're all one. And we use structures to then figure out who's our soul group, who are our soulmates, who are the people that we can vibe with on a deep internal level before this lifetime and beyond into the next. Right? Like that's what the soul is all about. So once you, and here we are with the letter U. So this is literally the letter U is showing you that you are the spirit bringing your fruits from your own T-Re, which is created from having sex inside of yourself. So when you create your own ST ability, when you bring your serpent into your own space, into your own spine to build up your own tree, and you have sex with yourself, you now create you. You are the basket that is bringing the fruits of your labor, the fruits of how you go through reps internally, the fruits of how you penetrate your own O and go on quests into realms and realities. and you create this garden. You're bringing the fruits of that labor in this basket. That's why you is shaped like a basket. And you is the air. So you is 21, showing us that 2 plus 1 is just you being the air, you being the chi, you being the mind that's communicating your soul, your idea of time, your garden, how you categorize inside of yourself and everything, all of your own creations, the fruits of your own labor into the universe. So how do you do that? This is where U becomes V, right? So notice like we're all under UV rays. We're all underneath one sun. That's UV light, because it's showing us that we're trapped in one vibe. So U, once that basket becomes dense, it becomes, right? It's like that U has a bend, but now it's a dip. So now U becomes V. V is the dense vibe. So this is where we are. Right now we're trapped in a vibe. You are in a V. You are in a vibe. That's why you can hear my vibe. That's why you can hear my voice. And that's why you can even comprehend my words in any way, I would hope. Because you've been trapped in the same vibe that I've been trapped in. And we both built the same relationship with the same energy that exists inside of this vibe, which is then this simulation. So the thing is, when you want to communicate your gifts, your individuality to other spirits, you must always get trapped in a V. So it's like doing things like this is inevitable, where we use language, we use light to communicate, because the only way that we can show our individuality to other individuals is to agree to not be an individual. This is why we're all connected by the vibration. So it's only being water-based. It's only being connected by the vibration that we can all use energy to appear separate. And now we're all expressing our individuality together, and it's clear that we're individuals, yet the point is we're made up of the same matter, and we all feel the same yet differently, but we're connecting with people we want to feel the same with. And the whole point of vibrational resonance is that that's what it is. So when you are in a V, you have trapped yourself inside a vibe that you resonate with, so that you can learn more about yourself. And so that you can communicate your gifts, because that's what it takes. You want to bring your fruits to other spirits, but it takes you agreeing to consume the same light as other spirits to then be able to consciously communicate said fruits to them. So once you're trapped in a V, right, like we're here, a lot of people have questions. Just like that Q powers the soul. So V, when you're looking at this vibe, you're trapped in it. It's the fire. It's what you can see, the body vibe. Like, I'm here in this body, but where am I? That's the W. W. So you are now connected to the W. It's right there in the question. Where am I? You are W. You are connected to another you. You are reflecting upon yourself. But you're doing this then with others. So we can consider the W, that other you, to be the universe. So this is why the universe is a reflection of you. It's a reflection of water. It's a reflection of your feelings. And your feelings of connecting with other spirits. So we're all building the universe together. That's the whole thing. And when you, as an individual God, want to share what you do in your own space, in your own garden, in your own T-Re realm, with your own stability, you get connected to the W. You get connected to the universe. So now the universe is the ultimate W that connects all yous. So all of us are yous. All of us are God. Like, we're all individual gods in our own alone worlds, infinitely powerful, infinitely creating things, infinitely cultivating all these gifts and giving things to whatever, just doing our thing. But it is our desire to connect what we do with other spirits that then creates the universe. And now, by actually going outside of ourselves and going into other realms and realities, we actually figure out who we truly are, and we get to show other spirits who we truly are. So when you ask W, as far as why am I in a V, why am I trapped in a vibe, the answer to W is that you sacrificed your you on the X so that you can be underwater, so that you can be in the universe, so that you can be in the wet world wide web that the spiders of the CymaTree, Mercurian spiders, are building, and many other spirits. So many, we work together so awesomely. So many spirits create awarenesses all the time, So the spiders, though, shout out my Mercurian CymaTree spiders, creating connections, creating the world wide web that allows everyone to wetly feel like they're vibing with spaces outside of themselves. And that's only possible because we're all sacrificing our true individuality. So this is why when you're in a relationship with others, when you're connected with others, it's you can't just express exactly what you want when you want, whenever you want. And if you can, then that's literally like a soulmate. That's someone who you're very deeply and passionately connected to. So like for me, that would basically be Anubis, where I can hang out with him and I can express whatever I want when I want, because we don't judge each other. And that's like the most natural form of connection. As far as like, right, when you want a partner, ideally when you have your ideal partner is someone that you can talk to however you want, whenever you want, so that you can vibe with other individuals underwater, then this is where you now have your reason why. Your reason why is why you're vibing. Now that you know why you're vibing, you now have this why. It separates you from all other spirits in the universe. So once you know, okay, I'm underwater, trapped in a vibe right now, because I've sacrificed my individual God on the cross so I can communicate it in a relatable way to other gods. This is my why. That why, being 25, is 7. So this is where you are now severing your consciousness into the simulation, because that's your yes. Your affirmative, yes. Why am I here? I know why. Yes. Letter Y. And you're just cutting through. And by cutting through, you can now go from 7 to 8. You can use your consciousness to create the connections that then allow you to sleep with other spirits. So this is then where we get the full alphabet. X, Y, Z. So once you sacrifice your individual you on the X, your individual God on the cross, you now know why you are trapped in a vibe, trapped underwater in a V. And now you can comfortably Z. Now you can comfortably sleep. You can sleep with all the spirits that you want to connect with, right? You can sleep with spirits that affirm your yes and you affirm their yes. And then the why is that consent energy, is that yes, I am here because I'm sacrificing my ability to be an individual so that I can be part of a collective. This is Hermeticism right here. Like, this is how we as spirits create life. Straight up. There it is. From A to Z. Because then once you're in a Z, like, yes, okay, I will now be unaware. Boom. This is why Z is unawareness. So everyone is asleep in their own way. Everyone is unaware to God in all these specific ways. Because awareness is that A. So A and Z are the opposite. So Z, right? No coincidences here. All intentional. Z being 26 is 8. A is 1. 1 plus 8 is 9. So you can think of your infinite 8 soul, like spiders are 8-dimensional beings. Your H, that top circle of the 8, that top box of the H is your A. That's your fire. That's your number 1. That bottom box of the H, that bottom circle of the 8 is your 8. That's your Z. That's your soul. And that is the structure of water that is then getting ignited into by your individuality. So your individual ideas are constantly penetrating the structure that is your soul. And that is what's creating your 9-dimensional perspective. So now you're always, as the spirit, creating this, penetrating your own soul with your ideas, observing always. And then this is your perspective. Your universe, your perspective on your universe, then creates your perspective on the universe, because you are literally using your universe to create the universe. You're joining your water into the water. So you're constantly participating your communications, your internal world, into the external. Like, that's literally what I'm doing with this podcast. This podcast doesn't exist. The CymaTree doesn't exist until I bring it from my internal into the external. And this is how spirits use the English language to architect reality and do that. Sleep with each other. Go from A to Z. Go from A to Z. Go from being aware to being unaware, so that they can be aware again, right? And this is why all bodies sleep. So we have to go to sleep because it's part of the sacrifice. It's just part of dreaming. Once you are in a simulation, that simulated body that you are in is being powered by your feelings, meaning that you're actually going to have to return back to your space at points, because you're going to have to recharge. And then that's where your body can actually recharge, because when you are powering your body with feelings, you're actually expending energy when you're aware, versus when you're sleeping, you get to rejuvenate and heal. So, A to Z. Boom. I hope this was helpful for you. This is very fun for me. This is it's super trippy. Just seeing, like, literally nothing being a coincidence, how the numbers play out. And it's just all us. It's all us doing this. So now we can look at the constructions of all words, because every letter matters. Everything matters, or else it wouldn't exist. So now we can build upon it even greater, right? That's all Mount Hermon, Hermeticism, Enoch vibes. Yeah, this is it. I'm pretty sure. Like, boom, there you go. That is how spirits use the English alphabet to architect life. You have just tapped into the root of the CymaTree. This mind of Mercury is about to tune into some other activities. I'm just thinking, like, is there anything I want to leave you with? Like, that's everything. Like, I did that great, I think. I hope that was helpful. Because that's literally how you create life, like right now. Just explained in the English alphabet. You know, so no coincidence. This is how us as spirits make something out of nothing. And this is how I just made it make sense throughout the whole alphabet. So you can listen to this, of course, I mean, as many times as you want. Of course, that's the point of reps, right? Do we just go to school once? Was I forced to sit through class once? Or was I forced to sit through class hundreds of days for multiple years? Man, just learning garbage. But hey, here I am. Tahuti Hermes Trismegistus, transmuting this garbage into gold, because that is what a true alchemist does. I love you, my fellow alchemist, my fellow spirit, my fellow creator. Stay easy.